Paulie goes, Chauncey Billups has been arrested. I said, Chauncey Billups, the Blazers head coach? And he said, that Chauncey Billups. Federal prosecutors this morning announced over 30 people indicted in two separate illegal gambling cases. And the Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and the Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, also former NBA player Damon Jones, among those arrested and involved in one of the schemes. You also have the five families in New York. And if you're not familiar with them, it's, you got the Gambino, Genovese, you got Lucchese, and they're apparently involved in backing rigged poker games, scamming victims out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. 3 of the more than 30 defendants were indicted, allegedly involved in both sports betting and fraudulent gambling schemes. During the poker games, in one of the alleged schemes, those involved used technology such as poker chip tray analyzers and an X-ray table that would read the cards when they're face down on the table, according to prosecutors. Victims allegedly scammed out of at least $7 million in poker games. The FBI has its eyes on the Italian organized crime families, specifically the La Cosa Nostra, the 5 families in New York City. Officials dubbed the NBA gambling scheme investigation Operation Nothing But Net, Operation Royal Flush for the poker schemes.
Come on.
This is out of a movie. It's out of Goodfellas. So they had the Operation Royal Flush. So this is the FBI having a press conference. Hidden cameras, special eyeglasses, X-ray poker tables. I don't know the poker chip tray analyzers. I'm going to guess that, well, no, I don't know. I don't know what a poker chip tray analyzer is. Hidden cameras, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that can read pre-marked cards. The X-ray table could read cards face down on the table. 3 of the defendants involved in both poker and also in sports betting. Chauncey Billups, he was one of those involved in the poker scheme. And victims were allegedly referred to as fish. People had no idea that everybody else at the table was in on the scam. And I think the question is, did Chauncey Billups lure people into a poker game knowing that they were going to lose money? Now, did he know or not know? But games were backed by some of the mafia families here as well. The NBA betting scheme, 6 arrests with that. So this is, once again, this isn't the NBA investigating this. This is the FBI. But mob families apparently involved in widespread gambling cases. So that's what I've got right now. We'll have more on this coming up in about 15 minutes. A reporter for Front Office Sports has been covering this, so we'll get a better idea. But wow. So you had an X-ray table, and you put your cards down, and they're able to tell you. What? You got special contact lenses or glasses that you can read a marked card? Wow. You're bringing people in. You know they got a lot of money. Hey, we got a great poker game. You got to get in on this. Sure. And then you go in and you sit down and you probably at some point have to go, why am I the only one losing? Yeah. Why just me? Man, you guys are really lucky today. Yes, Todd.
Imagine being so bold and brazen that you can hide every one of these pieces of technology and all these different things where there's cheating going on and no one is going to pick up on it or see it at any point.
Wow. I'd love to see how this works. I would love that I could see a table. I mean, this is a movie script. All of a sudden, get Matt Damon on. Let's see if we can talk to him about Rounders 2. And get KGB on. Get John Malkovich on here. We can talk to him about this. Yes, Paul.
You know, if there's a bright side, it's nice to see the 5 families working together on a new project harmoniously. They used to fight against each other. Now they're teaming up.
Yeah. God. This is wild. Ben Horney spent 12 years at Law 360, and he oversaw sports betting, mergers, acquisitions, capital markets, private equity. He's been covering this latest story with the NBA. And really, it's bigger than that, than just the NBA. It's the FBI with over 30 people arrested involved in gambling schemes that had to do with poker. Also, apparently, sports betting as well. Ben, kind enough to join us. Give me the tone of that press conference, Ben.
Yeah, Dan, thank you so much for having me. It was, how do I describe the tone? First of all, there was no internet, which was not great for us reporters. It was pretty intense, very serious. There were more than 20 officials, including Kash Patel, director of the FBI. Very serious. They said this is the tip of the iceberg. Both of these investigations are still ongoing. Okay,
let's start with the Chauncey Billups allegations and Terry Rozier and Damon Jones. What were they alleged to have been involved in?
So there was two things. One was this alleged, by the way, they're all alleged still. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty. They made sure to, make that clear. There was one operation called Operation Royal Flush that involved the poker scheme. And basically, they would dupe everyday people into playing these games with high-profile people like Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones. But everyone else besides the victim was in on the scam, allegedly. So they were using technology to read cards. They said something about X-ray technology where cards would be face down, but they could still see what cards they were. And they were duping people out of thousands. Ultimately it was millions of dollars, Kash Patel said. So that was that. It was when Chauncey Billups was a former player. Damon Jones, former player. They're both coaches. Very not cool.
What's the time frame on this? Because Chauncey Billups coached last night, but when is he alleged to have been involved in this gambling ring?
So it's relatively recently, and by that I just mean within a few years ago. He was a former player. Now he's been retired for a while. It wasn't. I would need to go read the indictment, which I have right here, hundreds of pages, to find out exactly the year. But I think that it was alleged before he was a coach. This has been going on for years, they said.
But why is it surfacing now?
So they've been investigating for a handful of years, collecting evidence, trying to figure out, how they could nail them. And they obviously have enough evidence now that they felt they could charge these people. They arrested Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier this morning, along with others. The other interesting factor here is that they said that the Italian mob isn't. I mean, this is like a Hollywood movie. They made a mention of that, but it is real life.
Has the NBA responded?
I have not been in touch with the NBA. I did ask at the press conference whether the NBA cooperated with the investigation, and they said yes, the NBA cooperated.
What do you think is next?
Well, like I said, it's the tip of the iceberg. So, now Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier, they're going to be arraigned in court sorry for the winds, by the way, in Oregon and Florida today. We don't know exactly when. And they're charged. There's going to be trials. Moving forward, I think the FBI and the law enforcement agencies, they're still asking people, hey, if you know anything about this, we're open ears. They're still investigating. So the implication is that further players, coaches, etc., could still come out.
But are we talking about fixing games, betting on games?
So that's the other. There were two investigations, right? There was the poker one. The other one, which is what Rozier's involved in. Players like Rozier and he's the only player, and Jonte Porter is the other one that was part of this. They were giving inside information about. They were going to claim that they were injured. They were going to say they're going to play poorly. They were telling other people involved in the scam so that people on the outside would bet on, Terry Rozier is going to score less than 10 points. And then Rozier would exit the game in the second quarter saying that he's getting a leg cramp. That's what it was. And I mean, this was being reported for a while, but now the charges are really out there. That's what was happening.
Ben, thank you. I know you got a busy day. Thank you taking some time for us.
Thanks so much, Dan.
That's Ben Horney from Front Office Sports, covering finance, private equity, ownership, and gambling. So you got the crime families in New York. You got poker games, X-ray tables. You got people wearing contact lenses or glasses that can read a marked card. Then you have prop bets maybe with gambling. And that's what Terry Rozier, Jonte Porter was involved in. But did Chauncey Billups lure people to poker games knowing that those people were going to be cheated? And I think that's what it sounds like he's been arrested with. And you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. That added up to now, I think, around $7 million. Whew. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, Paulie.
And you asked again, Chauncey Billups is not a victim of this. He's allegedly a participant.
Yes. Yeah. But imagine that your job is to lure. Not that if Damon Jones said, hey, do you want to come to a poker game? I'd go, sure, that's Damon Jones or Terry Rozier. But Chauncey Billups, okay. And then are you getting a kickback? And if so, what kind of kickback are you getting? I'm sure that you're getting a kickback. Let's say, the house is making $75,000. We're going to give you, but you got to make it worth his while. That's what I don't understand. Because he's not really playing poker then. But I don't, maybe Chauncey Billups owed somebody. Hey, you want to pay down your debt? Here's how you do it. Now, once again, just speculating. But just trying to figure out, Chauncey Billups has done well in his career, in his NBA career. Now, was this in between when he retired to becoming coach of the Blazers? Sounds like it. But wow. How much could you make where you go, this is worth it? Now, once again, you never do these things and you go, what if I get caught? You're probably thinking, nobody's going to know about this. It's just us. But all of a sudden you bring in the mafia, the crime family. Man, my antenna would go up. I'd be like, yeah, Paul.
The one thing journalistically is LeBron James is going to be asked about this with his friendship, long-term friendship with Damon Jones, the player. They played on different teams together. The Athletic and the Times, the New York Times, are already running different articles about things Damon Jones is accused of. So it's one of those things, whether obviously not accuse anybody, but you have to answer for. It's going to be a tough week.
I mean, you can just say, like, I have
Clearly,
no idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
he's not going to be answering. And he's not around.
Right.
You can't talk to LeBron. He's not around, I don't think. Yeah, Marvin.
Then the Blazers players, too, a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
Hey, let's ask you about what's going on with your head coach.
Yeah. Well, tip of the iceberg. So over 30 people and more to come. Yeah, Pablo Torre finds out his podcast. He's been doing a deep dive on this as well. I'm sure he'll have something later today.